Giving all praise unto Abachi Macha Abachi Mko Hakodash, double honors unto the apostles of great millstone, and the honor she brothers to be pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And the brother everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh, Bashimi Haushai, Bashim Mko Hakodash, giving all praise unto Abachi Macha Abachi Mko Hakodash. Okay, it's gonna be a very quick video. This is gonna be a very quick video based upon this scripture here within the book of Isaiah the 14th chapter and the 3rd verse on down. So let me just read the scripture here before I start speaking about it. So it says here within the book of Isaiah 14:3, and it shall come to pass in that day, the Lord will give thee rest from thy sorrow, from thy fear, and from thy hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Okay, so I wanted to speak about that particular scripture for a handful of minutes. I wanted to speak about that particular scripture and elaborate on it with regards to rest. Okay, the mindset that you have to have within this society in order to survive, and then ultimately how that's going to be changed upon Yahweh's return. Okay, changed when Yahweh sets up a kingdom upon the face of the earth. Okay, so let's start with the first aspect. Okay, the hard servitude that we have to serve underneath the red Hebrew Edomite Esau. We're bombarded underneath a persistent wave of worry. Okay, a persistent wave of concern, a persistent wave of uncertainty. And the scripture talks about how that we was going to have uncertainty living underneath our enemies. To the end, the scripture says there was going to be no end to our worries. Okay, that's because you got to worry about, your family. Okay, you got to worry about your immediate family. You got to worry about, really, the scriptures encourage you not to worry about your more extended family. Okay, the scripture goes on to say who's your mother, who's your father. Those are the people that push the word with you. Okay, and really that's the mindset you have to employ. To the end, you got to come to the conclusion that, you got your extended family and you see the condition that they're in, and therefore you start to want to hustle. Okay, you want to hit the jackpot, you want to hit the lotto. Okay, you want to figure out a hustle to have it to where everybody's gonna be all right. Well, it's not gonna happen, man. And I suppose that's gonna be the title of the video. You ain't gonna be able to figure it out. You're not gonna be able to figure out that master plan that's gonna lead you into financial prosperity and freedom right out here, because that's not a part of the conditions wherewith we was made to serve our enemies. Okay, the scriptures didn't say you was going to be underneath Esau, right, balling, right. You're going to be the next LeBron James. You're going to be the next money maker. Which all of these guys that you see that are Negro, Hispanic, or Native American that have made that money, you've seen that they have had to sell out to make that money. Okay, they've had to do particularly strange things to obtain that money, man. Okay, they've done particularly strange things to obtain that money, which they're gonna receive their judgment. The scripture talks about how that it's terrible that a man should lose his life, right? Lose his soul to obtain gain within this society. Okay, gain within a wicked society at that. Moreover, the scripture talks about how that they received their consolation. So a lot of these guys that you see out here, they received their consolation price. But for the vast majority of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, there is no there is no winning, magic bullet. That's the word I'm looking for. There is no magic bullet that you're gonna be able to shoot and lead yourself onto financial prosperity. The reality of the situation is we're through, we're done, right? The hope is in Yahweh Shai, and the hope's got to be in Yahweh Bashim Shai. Why is the hope got to be in Yahweh Bashim Shai? Because according to the scriptures, according to the prophecies, that was going to be the only way. That was only going to be the only way to lead us out of this situation of hard bondage where we was made to serve underneath our enemies. That was going to be the only way. Okay, that was going to be the only way back into a situation where you ain't going to have to worry about your family. You ain't going to have to worry about your extended family. You ain't going to have to worry about business, okay? Every Israelite wants to start a business, okay? You ain't going to have to worry about starting a business. The business is already going to be running, right? Right, we're going to be in the business of being kings, right? And receiving tithes. Now, if you want to set up something for yourself and whatever, we're going to see how the Most High is going to do it, okay? We're going to see how Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to set that whole situation up. And then we're going to see, right, just what prosperity looks like. Because right now, we're not prospering, right? We're not in a position where, we're balling through the roof, okay? And if you are balling through the roof, questions is gonna be asked. How did you obtain that money? Did you sell out? Okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, so really, right now is a period of suffering. You really think about these situations where you could make it big, in which you might get a little blessing here and there. That's fine, but to really make it like that, to where everybody's good, nah, not for an Israelite, not right now, not up until Yahweh Shai's return, and that's good. That means we got something to look forward to. But we just got to suffer through this particular situation right now. And once we suffer through it, once we suffer through it, and once we get to the other side, then we're going to be all right. Anyways, with that, I'm going to say all praises unto Yahweh Shema Shai Bashim Korash, double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and honor should brothers that be pushing his truth in sincerity. I'll see you on the next one. Shalom.